What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Square Table Podcast. Actually, it's been a while since we've done this, but
Has been a while.
welcome to Derry. Season 1 has concluded, and what better way to start the day after Christmas than talking about some amazing horror? And we are joined by Troy over at Music and World Unite and Charles over at Charles Hagen Review. Hagen? Yeah, I know I was going to butcher that shit. Always, I'm the worst. Just the absolute worst.
You can't pronounce anything.
I cannot. This is a known fact. So this should also be fun because, you know, I'm sure I'll butcher a ton of stuff tonight as well.
Absolutely.
What's going on,
AJ,
everybody?
Can you tell me what the main actor that played it? What's his name?
Bill Skarsgård.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Charles. Yeah. I could say Skarsgård.
I needed him to say it, Charles. I needed him to say it.
My bad.
How's everyone? How is everyone's
Good.
Christmas?
Very good, man.
Good.
Relaxing, you know,
Great.
relaxing.
Relaxing. You don't hear that often.
That's the first time I've ever heard that.
Yeah, that's. You sure about
Not
that?
all of it. Not all of it. But, you know,
No.
it was okay. It was good though. You know, Christmas as you get older is, if you have kids, is really all about them for the most part. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just end up driving everywhere. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But I do have a Tesla, Troy. Now I do have a Tesla.
Oh, look at
And,
you, sir. Fancy.
they
Okay.
Off drive for like Christmas or whatever.
Mhm.
And oh man, when you're driving at like 9:30 at night, just to kind of like let the car go, it's nice.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
nice.
Yeah.
Like,
I drove to Virginia and back a couple days ago, and the car drove about 95% of it, not me. So I get so spoiled with that. It's so nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
guys
know.
are
I know.
Unbelievably
We're bougie.
spoiled. Yeah, I don't
We're
even
bougie
know. Like,
people.
sorry, I still drive my car the whole way.
Imagine that.
You have cruise control. Don't deny like you don't have cruise control.
Sorry.
Unreal. Okay.
Yeah.
It is unreal. It is unreal. All right. Well, shall we get started?
Yes,
Sure.
sir. Let's dive right into this because there's a lot of stuff, and we're here to connect
There,
a lot of the
this is-
dots from this show.
I'm curious. The curiosity is going to be a lot of lore here, a lot of thoughts on should this have been a thing. So let's start with our first question of the evening.
Hmm.
If you had to describe the first season of Welcome to Derry in one word, what would it be and why? Troy, let's start with you. You're first on my screen.
I will say one word: fun. And do you want me to expand on that, or just give me?
I do. I would like to know
Yeah,
why.
get it
Why would you call that fun?
You said
Why would you
one
call
word.
it one word and why?
One word. It's fun because it doesn't take itself too seriously. You know, it's like some of the gore is kind of campy. You know what I mean?
I do.
And
I
that's
know
kind of
exactly.
fun. Especially like that first episode. I think it was the first one with the bat thing, like the baby
Yes.
bat thing or whatever that was. And yeah, so it doesn't take itself too seriously. So that part of it's kind of fun. The second part, you know, if you like horror, it's a lot of enjoyable set pieces there to get through. But also for me, as someone who's into Stephen King, and when I was younger, like way into Stephen King, it's a lot of fun exploring a lot of the lore. Because there's a lot of things in the books, is particularly in the It book, that they kind of retcon in the movies and the TV shows. So it's interesting to see what they change. But also a lot of the things in the original book are a little bit ambiguous, where they don't spell it out. And so the TV show kind of starts, you know, giving their own perspective, or own writing on some of what's actually happening in the storyline. So it's fun to see that stuff, like somebody else write for Stephen King in a way. So yeah, so I would say that's why it was fun to me.
Do you feel like, and just to expand on that a little bit, do you feel like, because most of the time people always say, "Oh, the book is better." Do you feel like it needed to it needed to be as good as the book, or was this still enough story, enough? You know, it's a lot of apparently it's got a lot of good visuals. Do you think this needed to be it?
Yeah, I mean, does it have to be as good as the book? It's tough to be as good as the books, honestly, because when you're reading a book, right, you're imagining what's happening, and it can be much scarier when you imagine something. especially like if the CG isn't great. Or one of the things I noticed about this show is, we'll talk about the pros and cons, right? The pros are, at the first few episodes, the quality I thought of the CG was good, but then it kind of got worse as the season went on, and it kind of takes you out of the scary.
They started
element
running
of it.
out of money.
Yeah, so they kind of takes you out of the scary element of it. But so a book, I mean, it could be as scary as you want. In fact, there's a lot of stuff in the original It book that's kind of way more scary, actually, than what's in this series. In even the first It movie. So, for example, or any of the movies for that matter, there's a character named Patrick in the series who is kind of this something called solipsism, which basically is like, there's like this mental condition that people can have, I guess, from children, being a young child, that they think that the whole world is a simulation, or a whole world is basically a simulation, that they're the main character and everyone else is not real. And so that's like a real thing, apparently. It's called solipsism, and this character has that.
Matrix.
And yeah, and because of that, imagine like somebody who doesn't think there's any repercussions for any of their actions, because they don't think it's actually real. So they don't think the people around them are real. So because of that, you could do really horrific things like murder babies and things like that. And some of that stuff is in the original book. That's really dark. That's not the episodes and the movies don't get that dark as they do in the book, I would say.
Yeah, that'd be. I feel like that'd be difficult to bring to life visually, to go that dark.
People wouldn't want to see it on the big screen, I would say. It would be too dark for most people. Yeah.
Yeah, probably not. No, I'm good.
Yeah. So there's my
All right,
answer.
AJ. What about you? One word and why?
One word and why? I would say needed, and I say that because while I liked the It 1 and It 2, the newer ones, they always felt like they kind of held back in terms of like a studio involvement. Like there was just something where they weren't allowed to go full bore, and because it's also the same people that did the show, you can tell they were allowed to do what they wanted. So while there's a lot of campy stuff in here, there are some great horror moments in here, and seeing the fan reaction as well as just the overall reaction to the show, I think it's been on top of the charts for HBO Max. I think it's one of their top shows in the last couple years. They've already announced a second season and a third season, and now they're even talking about making a third It movie, the like after the second movie. So yeah, I think this was really needed. And we're going to touch upon it a lot during this discussion, but the whole Macroverse that Stephen King has had over his entire career has always been kind of plucked at, and I think this show, what it really did, although I would say Castle Rock, if anyone watched that, kind of tried to do that on Hulu a couple years ago. Also, ironically, having Bill Skarsgård as the main character. This one really, if there was ever a show that's going to get a Dark Tower series greenlit, I think this would be it. So I'm going to say this was needed because it's about damn time that horror, and not to say that horror has been on a decline, because it definitely hasn't. It's definitely been on the up, although me and Charles will disagree on weapons. But
man, Charles, have you heard his opinion on weapons?
Oh yes,
there's a whole episode dedicated to that.
Yeah. I need to buy AJ like a life-size Aunt Gladys or something.
So yeah, I'm gonna say needed, and I'm really excited to see where this goes and talk about it tonight.
All right, Charles, how about you?
So I was trying to think of the perfect word, and what I came up with was foundational. I feel like this series was foundational as far as kind of entering into a MCU style Stephen King universe. And if you've read the books, like I recently reread Pet Sematary, Even in Pet Cemetery, they mention Derry. They mention like the wife drives past Salem's Lot. She sees the exit for it. She's like, "That's a weird name of a town." There's always been this connection, and Dick Halloran as well. Is mentioned in the It book, and it's just, I think foundational is the best way I can describe it, because it seems like they're creating all of the connections that are going to happen, and in this, like AJ calls it, like a macroverse. I really think the execution was well done. It's kind of scary when they include characters from other IPs, because you always kind of want them to treat it with respect and for the characters to be done faithfully to their source material. And I think they really did that with Dick Halloran. So I think foundational would be the best word I can use to describe it.
And
So
if anybody
then-
has ever seen The Shining, Dick is also one of the main characters in The Shining as well. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just to expand on it a little bit more, you guys have mentioned comparing it to the movies. Do you guys feel that this version of Pennywise is better, or is it just different? Does it need to be better?
I'll go first, I guess.
Yeah, no. We'll stay in order. Yeah,
okay.
Troy, you take it
Go
away.
ahead, Troy. Go for it. Go for it.
Better is really subjective, because in the book it's all in your head, right? And it could be as evil or as dark as you want it to be. I think as far as a character portrayal, though, this is my favorite version of the character. Like Bill Skarsgård does an amazing job. Yeah, as far as on screen, my personal opinion. Yeah.
Do you consider him in this case, let's call him the MVP? Is he like the most? Does he provide the most value to the show? Like, if they had another actor in that portraying this character, do you think it could have been pulled off by anybody else?
Could have been pulled off, sure. It would be different, right? I'm sure somebody could do a good job. But now his face and the way he, basically his face, right? Just kind of, and the way he acts, is just part of what we now think of as Pennywise. So it's very, I would say that's my opinion.
What about you guys, AJ, Charles?
Yeah, no, I think it would have been, because there were early rumors in the very beginning when the show was being talked about being made that he wasn't going to reprise the role. He was going to step away. And honestly, I don't know if I would have even cared about this show if he wasn't a part of it. Because I really enjoyed the newer movies, especially the first one. The second one I had my gripes with it, but to see if he wouldn't have been a part of it and they were going to still say that it's that Pennywise, it would not have worked. And in this series, for sure, this is when he absolutely, I don't want to say made Pennywise his own, because he was obviously very distinct from what came before him. But in this one, I think he takes it to another level, and you get to really appreciate him as, because not only do you get to see him as Pennywise, but you also get to see him as Bob Gray, which I think is actually one of the reasons why he's decided to be a part of it, because he was actually going to be able to play those two different characters, and really show you his range as an actor. So no, I don't think this could have. I think his performance in this was better than in the movies. And I wouldn't have. It would have been a disservice if he wasn't a part of it.
Charles, you agree?
I think that this is the best on-screen Pennywise that we've gotten, but I do think that the character is better in the novel. I just think that there are some things that can't be adapted properly. And we have situations like the Dune films where I feel like they definitely improve upon certain aspects. I would even say the same for Watchmen. I think the ending of Watchmen, the film, is better than the ending in the graphic novel. And I just think that there are things that can't really be adapted. And I think that what they ended up doing with Pennywise is not as strong or not as good as the book. We don't ever get the ritual of Chud. We don't ever get all of this weird cosmic weird crap that happens in the like it does in the novel. I like the callbacks to it with the turtles. There's so many references to turtles, but I just don't think it can really be adapted. I just wish that they had I guess I wish they'd made Pennywise a bit more difficult to defeat, because that's my biggest complaint about the Muschietti Pennywise, is just that he feels like he has too many weaknesses, and in the novel they have to do some really weird shit. Like, it's not that easy, you know. So that's my only gripe. I think that Bill Skarsgård is the definitive Pennywise on screen, but I just wish that he was a more powerful adversary, you know.
In terms of the other characters and the actors that play them, other than Bill Skarsgård, who do you think was probably the strongest character in terms of their acting, in terms of the way the character is written, how they're portrayed? Oh, Troy, you first. Keep going in order.
I don't know. It's tough. Let me think about that question. Let me look up the character. I actually took some notes earlier when I actually went back and watched the last couple episodes again to prepare for this one.
Nice.
So the main character Leroy, the guy who plays him, I forget his name, but he's very good. The Dick Halloman actor is very good as well. I think all the actors are good. I would say though, the kids are good, but the kids aren't. I'm gonna be honest with you, they aren't as engaging as the kids in the movies for me. As far as like fun characters. So I would say the kids are the weakest part, to be honest with you.
Okay.
My take on it. But yeah, I would say for me,
Except my boy Rich, man. Come on.
Yes. You know who's really good? You know who's really good is Ingrid. The girl who plays Ingrid, who's Bob Gray's daughter in the flashback scene. And when she dresses up as the clown in that scene, she's really good. She to me, she was a highlight. And then in fact, the lady who plays her when in that episode where she realizes that it's not her dad, that lady as well, forgive me, I don't know the actress's name, but I thought she was really good. So I think the adults are carrying the show, and a lot of times in the movies, it's kind of the kids carrying it more. But that's my review of it. Yeah.
Show me the bow.
What about you guys?
The kids are fine, but they're not as kind of energetic and on screen as
I definitely agree with Troy here. I think the kids were like, the kids definitely had their moments, but the show immediately right off the bat basically tells you like, fuck them kids. Like that's the show was like, oh, you think you're gonna get Losers Club Part 2? No, they're half dead. We killed them all already. So the cold open to the show was phenomenal. I love that twist to it where you think, okay, we're gonna get more of the same, and and they were just like, no, we're not doing that. But for me, it would really be Halloran. I think he was my favorite character. The ties to The Shining, really digging into that entire aspect. I just thought was one of the things that kept me really engaged. Kind of, Kaiju Live, but kind of Monarch-y, where I was always very fascinated with the 50s Shaw than the current characters. It was just like that, like, give me that lore to tie into The Shining. So Halloran was definitely my favorite character, and I agree with Troy. The adults really carry the show here, not to take anything away from the kids. They definitely had their moments, but no, this show was about way more than just the Losers Club.
I don't know. I kind of disagree a little bit. I just feel like Lily and the character of Will were both great. Like, I really liked those characters, and of course Richie.
Richie's.
We also saw some great development with some of the characters. The what is her name? Lily's friend, the one that was trying to be one of the mean girls.
Marge.
Marge had some great development. I feel like definitely the emotion was there with the kids. The kids like carried the emotional core. Sure, the adults had more interesting, I guess, scenes and more interesting sequences, but I feel like the kids were still the emotional core. I think Will and Lily were great, but I still have to give it to Dick Halloran, though. He was great. I mean, I love that character. I loved him in the novel, and the fact that he's like coming back like this, and we really get to see, it's great. Also, Charlotte, I've told my wife that she's my new girlfriend, so she's just gonna have to get over it, because Charlotte's very pretty. She was pretty good. She was pretty good, and her character's from Louisiana, from what she say, Shreveport, so close to home. But yeah, no, I thought that the kids were good. I think the cast was all around good. I will say, the first kids, before they did the 180 on us in the first episode, it was a bit derivative. I was kind of like, we got the foul mouthed one and we got the blah blah blah, just like in the movies. But then by the end of the episode, I was like, thank God.
Yeah, I loved it. It was like it was very carbon copy, and they obviously did it on purpose to hit you with that 180 and really make it jarring as possible.
So, just to expand a little bit more, then, what would you quote unquote call the scare of the season? Like, because from what I understand, the show had a lot of jump scares, a lot of, obviously the gore is there. What, in your guys' opinion, was
that's
the
a tough one.
scare of the entire season?
The problem is, Evandro, none of this stuff scares me. So I'm just watching it enjoying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't really.
Well, from an outside point of view, then, what do you think general audiences would have found the scariest part?
Okay, so I'm not sure, Evandro, but I'll just say my favorite kind of scary set piece is where the movie theater scene. That movie theater scene was in the second episode, maybe. Can't remember exactly. And the scene in the last episode where Pennywise is holding up the principal. And then he basically,
phenomenal.
He uses his deadlights to, kind of hypnotize all the kids, and then has them kind of, zombified and all that. That whole scene was awesome. And the way he kind of screamed, it was almost like a metal singer scream, like when he opened up his mouth and everything. That was, I wasn't scared, but that part was really really well done. And I could see why somebody would be scared of it. So
would you call that your favorite episode?
Well, that's two different episodes though.
That's two different ones.
Yeah, that's the finale and episode 2.
Yeah,
but that's what
finale,
I mean. So
the finale was great. I would say my favorite episode is a different question. I'll come back to that one. Let me think about it.
All right, we'll come back to the favorite.
That's what I would say as far as a scary set piece. Those are my two favorites. Yeah.
Okay. AJ?
Think
your favorite scary.
The scariest thing, scary moment, not a happy moment. That actually was like, oh, okay. For me was it might have also been the second episode when he's messing with I'm terrible with names, by the way. When he's messing with oh my God.
What does he look like?
No, it's the daughter of she runs the movie theater. The father runs the movie theater. I forget her name. When he's going after her, Ronnie. When he's going after Ronnie, and she sees the mother sitting in the chair, and then and then she gets up, and I don't know, that whole the way she gets up and everything like that. It looked great, because the special effects would probably be my biggest knock on this show in terms of how hit and miss they are. That one was not a miss, and that one was particularly gross too. Like the whole feel, it made it seem like now she was a part of the lungs or maybe the placenta. I don't know. There was a lot of pregnancy stuff going on in this show, especially early on. So, now it's filling up and she's trying to get out. So that whole, I think that one in terms of anxiety and scare, that one definitely would be mine. But my favorite is definitely what Troy brought up, the ventriloquism thing, or at the end. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Charles, what do you got?
I was going to actually say that birthing scene.
That
scene is just disgusting.
Scene.
Yeah.
The fact that you have to say the birthing scene.
Yeah, that's what I call it in my mind, because she's trying to get through the sheets and it's actually the walls of a placenta. It's so gross. But since AJ said that one, I'm going to go with the Black Spot Massacre. That was insane, man. Pennywise
That
just
was,
like
yeah.
standing there with all the flames and his eyes glowing. It's
Yeah.
like, oh shit.
Do I have face on my
On my
face? Oh my god,
That
so
was
fucking
nuts.
good. So
Nuts.
good.
Okay.
Yeah, the black
Very
spot, the
interesting.
fact that they brought that into the sorry to cut you off, Evandro. The fact that they brought
no,
the
you're
black
fine.
spot like finally into which was and, you know, like Troy pointed out, like they obviously changed things from the books. So let me while Charles just brought that up, let me toss out a question to Charles and Troy, because you both have read the novels, right?
Yeah.
So how would you feel about the black spot in terms of that, like from the book to now on screen? Because obviously it's different. Whereas I'm pretty sure in the books it's a lot more just racial, and in this one it's kind of everything. It's a little bit of everything. So what do you think? Do you think they improved upon it, better, worse? Troy, what do you got?
You know what? I've been talking first all the time. I'll defer
All right.
to Charles. Give his opinion first. So,
Okay.
Charles, what do you got?
I feel like in the novel, Stephen King, I mean, if you've read the book, it's like he must have mapped out the whole fictional town of Derry, and he knew every single store, every single, you know, boulevard, whatever. And the black spot, to me at least, it felt like it was a core part of the history of Derry in the novel, but it also felt like it was more of what's the word that I'm looking for? Exposition. It felt like it was more of just a historical thing that's talked about in passing. So I actually prefer getting to see it firsthand. And if I remember correctly, the black spot going into that lore was when Dick Halloran is mentioned in the novel, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So I like that there's a more active role, because it always did stand out to me. And reading the book, I was like, well, that sounds really fascinating. You know, did Pennywise like make them kill all those people? Like, did Pennywise influence them? Did he blah 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 blah? And I always was curious, and it's implied, but getting to actually see it, yeah, I thought it was great. That was probably my favorite episode.
In the book, Dick was only 10 years old. Actually, he was a boy.
Okay.
Yeah. He sees it as a boy. It's a totally different part of the story. So, but overall though, yeah. So in the book, he's not really a hero. He's more of a witness, I think. Now, guys,
Yeah.
it's been a long time since I read that book, but I'm just going by what I remember. So yeah, so if I'm wrong about any of this, forgive me, but I think that's true. What did I think was better? I mean, the book kind of mentions it, if I remember correctly. It doesn't really go into it like the show does. Seeing it on screen was incredible, and having Pennywise there, like you guys mentioned, actually feasting in the middle of it was just unbelievable, you know, to see that. So definitely love seeing it. And that's the cool thing about show format. That's why the only way they could ever make the Dark Tower for real is to do it in this format. Because it's just too much content to do in even 3 movies or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just, there's too much. If they gave it this style treatment, then, you know, as a side note, it could work. But aside from that, I really enjoy seeing the things that are alluded to or just talked about briefly in the book expanded on television, because you just simply have more time to do it compared to a movie or something like that. So,
and to bring it back.
Go ahead.
I was going to say super quick. I just looked it up. So Dick Halloran is mentioned when Mike's dad is telling him about the black spot, and Dick Halloran apparently saved Mike's life in the novel. And it says that Dick was 19 years old in this story.
Okay.
So Dick saved Mike's dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, it's been a long time since you read it, so you know.
Okay.
I mean, that's still 19 is still young, you know.
Yeah, no, exactly. He's not. Yeah, he's not
a grown man.
Yeah, he's not how he is portrayed.
Man.
But you know, to bring it back to Charles's point earlier, how this is like Stephen King's like MCU, like when you finally, because there's that scene where Pennywise confronts Halloran at the black spot, and that scene is again just everything that Bill did in this, where is just phenomenal. Like, it's like, do you see them now, Dickie? because I think they see you too. And he just starts manically laughing. One, if the rumors are true, cast this man as the fucking Joker right now. I don't give a shit if he's playing another clown. Don't care. Just cast him. Because one, that laugh sold me, and two, obviously he's phenomenal at playing insane people. But that, again, just that kind of crossover just had that first time seeing the Avengers on the screen kind of vibe as a horror fan, with connecting those two big movies, The Shining and obviously It, right there, and them confronting each other. So I absolutely love that. So Evandro, back to you, man. My bad. I kind of jacked
you
your
guys.
spot there.
You guys have expanded and told me about like your favorite moments. Is there one episode that encompasses like this is the episode? Like if you're trying to recommend this show to somebody, hey, get to episode what is it? Which episode would that be?
You mean like if they just started and they're like, oh, I don't know if I'm feeling it, kind of thing, and then
Exactly.
keep going?
Yeah. Or what would be your favorite episode? But it has to, I want it to be the entirety of the episode, not like, oh, this one's good in this spot, this one's good in this moment. What episode encompasses basically like that was it? That was great writing, great act. It checks off all the boxes for you guys.
Probably the black spot.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I think the black spot is from start, and not to take anything away from the finale, because I think the finale is also phenomenal. But the amount of lore that is given to you in the black spot, again, finally getting to see that moment that's referenced so many times in the books, or is just it just worked on every level. And then obviously the stuff with Ingrid, or Periwinkle, whatever you want to, like, that entire arc finally coming to again, just phenomenal acting by Skarsgård as Pennywise. That entire confrontation where she dresses up as Periwinkle and meets him at the black spot, and she still believes that that's her dad potentially, and and you could see when she hugs him the disgust on his face, because again, it's like she's not afraid of him. She loves him in that moment, and it's like she stinks to him. He's just like, get the fuck off me. Just don't until she finally realizes that it's not him. You're dancing daddy. He's just fucking nuts. It's just it's so good. And like you said, the realization in her eyes, like her acting there when she realizes, like, oh fuck, that's not my dad's gone. Like, what did you do with him? And he's just like, I hate him. Oh, so good. So good. So yeah, for me, I got to agree, black spot. Charles, what do you got?
I would. Okay, so if I was telling somebody to just make it to a certain point, I'm pretty confident they would get hooked by episode 2, because I feel like episode 2 has some really memorable stuff in it. Black Spot, I think, is a really good bet, but also I would tell them, just wait for the finale. Just wait for the finale. Honestly, I think episode 2, the Black Spot, and the finale are like the best episodes in the whole series. I definitely wouldn't tell them the graveyard episode.
Oh yeah,
no.
So I want to expand on that then. What do you think in the show itself? What was the weakest part of the show? Like, what was the
graveyard
weakest
episode?
point?
Graveyard episode.
Yeah.
It's not even
Wow.
close.
It's not.
Well, why is that? Tell the audience, why is that episode just not?
Grok,
because
Grok, turn on fog. Like that's why. It's
because Muschietti. That's why.
Yeah,
Muschietti. It's intentional, man. It's intentional. Remember?
Yeah, that reminds me. The Flash. That's what it was all over again. It was the Flash CGI where he's like, "Yeah, we did this on purpose," and you're just like, "You sure about that? Like, just say you ran out of money. Like, that's what I mean. Like, but yeah, like that. There is this scene where it's just awful green screen with awful fog. It's just bad. It's bad, and it's luckily it's not that long. But again, it's so bad that it's that memorable. You're just like, this is definitely the weak spot. And there were some things too. I didn't really care for like the the flying bat baby in the beginning, like the CGI overlay stuff. I just don't think it looks good in a lot of cases. I'll always be a proponent of practical effects or just the blending of the two. You know, I really hate when something's fully CGI and there's nothing real there. I don't want to distract from this, but like, let's just talk about Predator Badlands real quick. Again, just his face is CGI, but everything else is a suit, and it works.
Yep.
Because again, you're blending the two things together, so like there's something physical there. So you telling me you couldn't have a, you know, it's not like the baby did crazy things. Like you couldn't have some kind of animatronic baby creature thing real quick. You know,
it's intentional, AJ. It's intentional.
Yeah.
And we're trying to we're making it look weird on purpose.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, it's like the Thing prequel all over again. But
the Thing prequel, no, don't do that.
They were originally going to go practical with the Thing.
They
prequel.
did. They did. It was all filmed and everything.
Yep.
All the stuff was made.
They were like
CG. CGI overlay everything. It doesn't look real. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that worked out great.
All right, so I want to talk about Derry itself. So,
yes,
do you guys feel that the show does a very good job of making Derry basically a character in and of itself? The town itself feels alive, feels very lived in. Do you feel that the town is complicit in what happens, or is it simply a victim? Like, do you feel
Complicit.
like?
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, is the town letting it run wild, or is it just another one of its victims?
Okay.
I know it's a little bit deeper of a question.
That's an interesting question. I think what the town is definitely under the influence of Pennywise, or it, for sure. And it's kind of taking a lot of the negative parts of humanity and just making it more so, I would say. Like there's this darkness. So for example, you know, some people are racist, right? For example, and you see that and it just becomes more, some people are abusive to their kids. Some people are, you know, just bad human beings in general, right? And you just see when Pennywise is not hibernating anymore, you just get more and more of that. And he starts to control people. He starts to manipulate people, their fears, makes them see things that aren't there. And so when he's around, that whole town is pretty much under his control one way or another, what it seems like. So I would say that it's basically they're victims for the most part. But I don't think he's just making things up. Like he's taking what already exists in the human psyche and heart and just bringing out the darkness. I would say that's one way you could put it.
Okay.
Yeah.
AJ?
Yeah, I would say they're a little bit of both because, like Troy pointed out, once he's out, everything kind of just gets amplified to a thousand, and however he wants it. So if he wants to scare whoever he wants to scare, and however he's going to do it, he's going to do it. And one of the really interesting things that I loved about this show in general, another lore dive, is in the finale, it's explained that I don't know. Do I want to dive into this? Because I feel like we might get to it. But anyway, it's established that Pennywise exists in the past, present, and future. Like he is all encompassing. So some of the people that you see even come into the town, like that are in the windows and stuff like that, are actually people that have already died. So like when he's around, he can literally just he brings people back. So then it kind of brings up, are some of the people from Derry like literally just constantly resurrected to just be his pet animals that he has around that helps him, like Ingrid, for instance. Right. Like he definitely latches on to humans that he believes can help him. So that's why he never killed Ingrid, like, because he was just like, oh, she thinks I'm her dad. So I can definitely use her to my advantage. And he did for 2 or 3 cycles. 3 cycles. Yeah. So it's just like, you know, the town is definitely, unfortunately, a victim. And there's one of the interesting things too is like when you leave the town, that's why everyone forgets. Once they leave, they don't remember it. They don't remember until they come back, and then it like slowly starts to hit them. And God forbid they come back when he's back, then it's it's game over. Charles, how do you feel about it?
I feel like it's almost equal parts blame between Pennywise and the people in the town, because it's like Pennywise wouldn't be able to do what he does if it wasn't for people already having that inclination to like a darker nature. I mean, you see people that come into the town like Leroy's family, and they're not evil people deep down in their roots, and they're not like I guess as prone to the influence. And then you have people like the Bowers, like Henry Bowers and his dad, who's the police chief. Those are people that are just inherently bad. And if you didn't have the Henry Bowers kind of people in the town, then would it really be as powerful? Would Pennywise be as powerful as it is? So I think that it's a very symbiotic relationship. I think that it would be difficult for one to exist without the other. But I don't think that, I don't think that the town is a victim necessarily. I feel like the good inhabitants are, but there's just as many bad inhabitants as there are good inhabitants. And I would be curious too if this town draws people to move there that are bad. That would be another interesting thing, to look at all the characters in the novel and the show that moved there on their own accord and see like what the content of their character is. I don't know, but now I'm just going off topic.
Yeah, I like that word.
No, this is very on topic.
Symbiotic. That's a really good way to put it.
So then, just to expand on it a little bit more, the series leans heavily into real world horror along supernatural ones. Which ones do you guys find more disturbing? Is it the real world stuff or the supernatural stuff?
That's a very good question. More
And
disturbing
it's opinionated.
is definitely
It's opinionated.
the
Whichever
more
you find more
disturbing is the more disturbing to me is, well, let me think about this. Because we can exist in a place that's not fantastical, or at least to our knowledge. The real world stuff is going to seem more disturbing just because we can relate to it, But if you think about certain things theoretically, they can be more disturbing, I would say. So, for example, we can get into more lore stuff.
I don't know. The birthing scene in my mind is very disturbing.
But
wait till you see it.
Yeah, I mean, for example, a human being that has this mental condition in the novel, right, where they don't think there's any consequence for killing a child or a baby or anything because they don't think it's real. I can't think of any, that's pretty much the most disturbing thing you could think of, because that person is just a total monster, you know what I mean? And there's probably people like that in the real world that are like the serial killers or whatever, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
So that is like the most disturbing. But then there's also the element of okay, we could talk about this, maybe in a little bit, but what happens when someone's under the influence of the deadlights? Like, what happens when someone's floating? It's not specifically explained in the show. And in the books, there's things that are alluded to. So you can kind of think about, okay, maybe this is what's happening. And you could just go by the best guess of what the book is talking about. But there's, for example, I don't believe this is true, but some people online think that when they're floating, they're in a state of perpetual fear forever, indefinitely. Now, I don't think that's actually lore accurate according to the book, but some people who watch the show think that. And you can think, well, that's kind of like the idea of hell, like in the Bible or other religious books that have this concept of hell, which is like this eternal suffering that you can't escape, right? Now, in theory, that's more scary than anything, I would say. But that's all theoretical, right? And maybe in a little bit, if you want to talk about lore stuff and all that, we could get into that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So
we're going to dive into
my long answer is the real stuff is more scary to me. But if you stop and think about what the possibilities are in theory, that ultimately could be more scary. But what I see on the screen, like all the gore stuff, it's not scary to me. It's just kind of fun.
Yeah, it's like just throw on Terrifier and enjoy it, just you just got sawn in half by the private parts.
Right.
It's totally fine. But yeah, I agree with Troy. The things that are more unsettling to me is always stuff that can be real, and I don't know what changed or just it sounds corny, but like ever since becoming a dad, anything that involves a father and a child relate, like for instance when Pennywise takes Will and now like shit's real. You know what I mean? It's just like that type of stuff always is more scary to me, and that type of suspense is just I don't dig that stuff. But yeah, that's like when seeing like, you know, to me, and again, it could just because I have a dark sense of humor or I just really enjoy these things. Ooh, puppy. Is I just find like the gore stuff and the scares, like I enjoy them. I think they're fun. I always
What does
like,
that say about you?
Yeah, exactly. He's a psychopath. But like, you know, I'm always like very, you know, like I just enjoy seeing the creativity that can come from especially a character like Pennywise, where it's literally your imagination. Like you can come up with you can get as dark and twisted as you want, which clearly the pregnancy vibes and birthing and all that stuff was messed up. And then you got, we haven't really talked about her much. What was her name? Lily? Was it Lily? The shopping scene.
The
with
pickles.
with
Pickles.
the pickle dad coming out all the fucking jars and those are some crazy stuff. But to me, it will always be the real life stuff, especially like the black spot where, you know, that's real shit that happened, man. And it's those kind of tragedies like are way more terrifying because that can happen at any point. You know, I mean, well, we're all under a simulation anyway. You know, who knows? Charles, what do you got?
Yeah, Charles, what do you got?
I don't know. I find things that are like based in reality not as frightening because you could actually do something to defend yourself. But that's why I've like always found exorcism and you know demon possession movies like way scarier than any type of slasher, is because it's like, what can I do? I can't like grab it. I can't, you know. But if it's a person, like these hands are rated E for everyone. Like, you know,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I have power over what happens to me if it's a person, or that situation. But if it's like an ethereal, cosmic, Lovecraftian deity, I'm screwed, man.
Yeah,
Like, that's way
Very good
scarier to
point.
me.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So, in terms of obviously the show has a lot of death scenes, a lot of characters, and
yeah, fuck them kids.
There's a lot of them get killed. Which death hit any of you the hardest? Like, what was the toughest one to watch?
Ooh,
Richie.
Death. Yeah, Richie.
And that's not even a gory one or anything. It's just
Nope.
it's
Sad as hell.
Yeah, that's just a sad one where you're like, that's my boy. Like the man's a hero. He's a knight.
Richie was
It's
a
awesome.
gangster.
Yeah. And then what he does at the end, it's a fucking miracle. It's just so good. So good.
Do you guys feel that the 1960s setting worked, or is this just, for lack of a better description, is it just like them kind of like trying to latch onto the Stranger Things like theme of having a setting based in an older time?
Or was Stranger Things taken from? I mean, Stranger Things takes from everything.
No, I understand, but you're talking about a modern show, in an older setting. You know what I mean? So, do you guys feel like that the setting works, or should it have been done in a different time period?
Well, it definitely works, but it's definitely different than the books, because in the book, everything is, I think this is true, everything is like 30 years prior, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's 27 years. Yeah, 27.
Yeah. So, but is the question, does it work? Yes, I think the 1960s is a great set piece, for the show, for sure.
Do you feel like that's because of what's happening in that time in terms of segregation and other things that play into a lot of those themes?
Yeah, and to have the the first movie take place in the 80s, right? And then the second movie takes place in the 2000s, and this takes place in the 60s. I'm assuming that these seasons are going to go backwards by 27 years. So
Yep.
probably going to see the previous one take place in the 30s, I'm guessing, something like that. So that'll be cool to see that. And then the early 1900s after that, which would be very
Yeah,
interesting to see.
was that 1908? I think would technically be
Yeah.
the first appearance. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I would love to see what that looks like because we're talking
Yeah.
Wild Wild West, like
Right. Right.
Yeah, you're talking about turn of
Yeah.
the century.
There's 15 people in the town. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Midwest is very unpopulated at that time. It's So, but AJ, what about you? Do you think this setting works?
Yeah, I'm a sucker for everything olden times. I hate modern times. I hate it. It sucks. So I really liked it. I love the prequel aspect. We'll get into the finale tie-in a little bit later, which is why I also think it worked. But they've already confirmed definitely a season 2, which is definitely going back. So I'm pumped for that. To be able to see also how Pennywise like progresses every time he meets a new group of people or gets defeated every single time or reborn or wherever the hell this shit works is very interesting to see. So because he was a lot more, I guess you could say he was a lot more vocal in this than he was in the movies. In the movies, he didn't really talk too much. It was more just he talked a little bit. He talked some shit to some of the characters, but in this one, like, especially with Halloran, like he was having some full-fledged conversations, and then Ingrid tried to have a conversation with him, and he just got tired of that shit, and he was like, "Deadlights, fuck out of here, stop talking to me." So it was definitely, I'd like to see, so how does he act differently, in the previous cycle? I think that would be, really interesting to see. But yes, I love the time.
I feel like my only issue with this time period is that it didn't look like the 60s to me personally. It looked like the 50s. I wanted to see more afros and disco and all that kind of crazy stuff, It didn't, like the bell-bottom pants and all that crazy stuff. I didn't see any of that. It felt more like it was the 1950s than the 1960s. So I think, the time period's good, but aesthetically, I feel like they kind of missed the mark a little bit. What I'm going to be really interested to see is what form did Pennywise take before he took over the clown in the circus? Because the next...
he was the kid.
He was the kid, right? But who was the kid? And like,
oh yeah,
I want to see you know what I mean? Like, I want to see like how he became the kid, and like what was before that. Like, has he just been shifting through all these different identities all throughout time? Was he a dinosaur at some point? That'd be cool.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool.
Oh man,
yeah, that'd be really cool.
That would be sick.
So, would you guys say that this show has deepened your understanding of Pennywise? Like, it expanded on not just like the character in terms of how it's written, but in terms of like the lore that they're giving him. Like, do you feel like this show is justifying all that information?
I would say it's expanded on the lore. And, Charles, correct me if I'm wrong, because it has been, I haven't read it probably since I was like 20. So to give you an idea, I'm 44. So, but the Dark Tower stuff I read, more recently again, but, so I could be wrong on some of the end stuff, but, the question was about lore. So they don't confirm in the book, if I remember, the idea that, Bob Gray was like this character. Like in the show, they really build the character more from what I remember. And they, Bob Gray and the daughter. So I really enjoyed that. They're also taking liberties with a lot of stuff, and this is what I wanted to talk about when it comes to the lore. In the show, it makes it seem like the only reason he's not just constantly doing this, actually in the show they make it seem like this 27-year pattern is because of what the Native American indigenous people did with this trap they put together with the 13 shards and all that of the meteorite, right? And then because that in the episode when one of them breaks, right, or when that trap breaks, basically the containment unit, he like immediately wakes up and goes nuts, right? In the book, if I remember correctly, it's kind of implied that that hibernation cycle is just part of its nature. And what I mean is they're kind of changing the lore in the movie, I guess, and the TV show. I think the TV show is canonically accurate with the movie, not the book. That's what it seems like. So, do I like that? Sure, why not? I mean, the book is the book, right? It exists in its own thing, and why not have new stuff? You know what I mean? I'm totally fine with that. I don't mind if they change things. So, that's my take on it.
What about you, AJ? I know you
Well,
haven't read the book.
Yeah, I haven't. I can't really add much to this because I have not read the novels. But as a fan of the movies and the TV show, I
give it to me in terms of what you've seen.
As of what I know, I kind of like. I love how this connects to the movies, and this is like an absolute continuation. And I do love the lore that they introduced with Pennywise. So I'm loving all of it. There really hasn't been something where I'm like, that's kind of stupid, or I don't like that. Again, I don't really have a reference point like the books, but even that cycle, the 27 years, I kind of feel like he was, because he still has some time, right? Like he's got a little bit of time. So that final day wasn't over, but he was done eating. So he was about to just go to sleep. And then he was like, wait a minute. They don't shut the fucking door. So he's like, so then, because for me, and again, this is just how I've always perceived it because I haven't read the novels. I've always when he puts someone in the trance or the deadlights and they float in his lair. I've always taken it, and especially when he's now taking all of the kids, like all of them, like when he's just like, oh shit, I can do whatever the fuck I want now. I felt like he was gonna, they were all gonna float, and he does that to like have when he wakes up, he has something to eat right away. Like that's what I've always kind of felt that was. So like this was him being like, wait, I have an opportunity to really start my my next cycle with a bang, with a feast kind of thing. So I don't know if it's portrayed like that in the books at all, or like you said, it seems like it's more of it wakes up, it eats till it's full, and then it goes night night.
Curious what Charles thinks, because I can't exactly.
Yeah, what do you think, Charles?
Yeah,
there are things in the novel that are not explained, and I think that's like on purpose. I think it's kind of dangerous, and you run into some potential issues if you try to explain too much. But yeah, Troy is correct. Like there's no like true explanation for why it's every X amount of years. There's no explanation for that specifically. And the whole idea is that he is a cosmic entity that we're not supposed to really understand. He's like beyond human comprehension. He's Lovecraftian. So, I mean, we need the ritual of Chud to defeat him. So I do think that they run into some challenges there trying to explain a bit too much. But yeah, I mean, I do think that I think they do a good job of expanding on the film lore, and I think as long as you kind of separate the two, yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good for
so Charles, I want to
what they're
expand
trying
on
to
that.
do.
I want to expand on that. Do you think that there's enough of Pennywise to warrant more seasons of this show? Like, do you think that there's enough lore? Do you want more lore, or do you just want to see more of what you see here, just in a different timeline, like you guys are saying? You were saying this is going to take place another 30 years in the past, and let's say the next season takes place in another 30 years in the past. Do you want to see more of that?
That's a good question. I want to see more of it, but I would really like it if they did more of a Jaws type season, where Pennywise is this like force, this like entity that they don't really understand, and people are being hunted by it. Yeah, so I think that like that would be a better season, and I think that if they went into that direction, they wouldn't run the risk of explaining too much, because when you do that, you're going to run the risk of like when you add other stuff, you're going to find contradictions in the lore. So Stephen King was really smart about not explaining everything 100% as to why this, why that, why this, why that. And I think that like I do think there's enough Pennywise to go around, but I don't think that we need to understand every point of him, because if we do, then he's not going to be scary anymore.
Yeah.
If we know every single weakness, and if we know every single thing about him and who he is and where he came from and all that, then he's
You take
more
away the
more
mystery.
human. He's more human, and he's not scary anymore because he has flaws, because he has weaknesses. So I think that if they go into more of Pennywise as an entity, more of us viewers as an observer rather than a participant, I think that would make a really good season. You know.
Yeah.
What
Now
about you
I,
guys?
Yeah.
I can't think of now. All Charles has me thinking of is like, imagine Pennywise as the Thing, where it's he's a bunch of different things and you don't know what he is, but he's all like so, and then it's revealed at like the end that he's basically been in every scene as something different until he comes upon choosing that kid. So it's like you get that whole like, where is he? You know, and then you get the reveal at the end. And obviously in that show, you'll never see him actually as Pennywise the clown because he doesn't become that yet. So yeah, I think that would be.
It's a
That would
good
be phenomenal.
comparison. A good comparison is like with the Predator franchise, right? Like Prey, it
This
went
is
back
exactly
to
what
the
I said
basics.
today, Jay.
Yeah, it went back to the basics, and we were the observer rather than the participant, and we got to see it, and it was intimidating, and it was like, oh my god, it just fucked up this bear, that was crazy. But then when you make it the main character, and you're with it for that much, and you get to see its life, its emotions, its whatever, and you get really inside of that character, then it's like, yeah, you can root for it, but are you really scared of what's his name, AJ? The Yautja in Badlands.
Deck.
Deck. It's like, would you be as intimidated by Deck as you would by the Predator and Prey? No.
So this
I don't
was
think so.
my whole comment on that movie. Like, I liked it overall as a film. I think story's there, acting's there, see, like all the visuals are beautiful, but you take away that mystery that is that creature. Like, what, you're exactly right. You're humanizing it. So do you guys feel that I mean, for me as an outside observer to Pennywise, he's just scary because you don't know anything about him. He's just this terrifying, like you're saying, force, this cosmic
Right.
entity that is just fear.
Yeah.
Troy, what about you?
Well, I mean, now maybe it's time to get into maybe a little more of the lore about what he is.
Yes,
and wants.
let's go into it. Let's go into it.
To quickly give my answer about what I want to see more seasons, the answer is yes, but I'm afraid they might get redundant, is my only fear. Hopefully not, though. We'll see. But as far as what it is, right? So this is going to be really convoluted, but I'm going to try to simplify it. Okay.
No, you can do it. You got
Get
it.
in.
We're here for it. We're here for it.
Basically, in Stephen King's universe, he has this concept of a multiverse where all of his books, not all of them, but a lot of his books are interconnected with this kind of grand multiverse. And at the center of everything is his kind of magnum opus called the Dark Tower series. And so there's this whole lore behind the creation of the universe, but then it's like, well, what universe? So, for example, there's this concept of the primordial soup, or the prim, which is pre-universe, if you could think about it. Imagine things that just existed without any structure, any actual universe structure, just a void, and entities existed, right? And you got monsters, you got good things, bad things, and in a Stephen King universe. And through that, outside of that, there was nobody really knows what it is. It's a character called Gan, or Gan, depends on how you want to pronounce it, and which is more like a godlike figure. It's not necessarily a god in the sense of Jesus, or you know what I mean, like what we think of a biblical god is, but more of an entity who's trying to create some kind of existence out of this soup, right? And so this character is basically coined in the Stephen King universe as creating what we now know as existence, as we know it, and the universe that has space and time in it. So the point is, there's this kind of macroverse, really, or in the Dark Tower they call it Tadash space, which is really this another dimension which exists outside of space and time. So you can think about that and imagine there's some kind of other dimension that exists outside of our universe, outside of space and time, where there's actual kind of gods that live outside of them, or entities, cosmic beings that we can't really understand because they're not inside of our universe. We don't have the construct to be able to really understand it. And what if there was a way of these universes to connect? And what if there was parts of our universe that had like a thin veil or a weakness to opening up to this other dimension? And that's kind of what Derry is implied in the books, is like this area where there's this weakness that things could potentially cross over. And so he is a creature that has crossed over through this meteorite. You can almost think of it as a spaceship in a way if you want. I don't think it's exactly that, but through this meteorite and crossed over from this another dimension which doesn't exist in our space and time continuum. So that's why he doesn't follow linear time. That's what the show revealed, towards the end. And because of that, he's basically like a god, if you want to think about it that way, because you can't really kill him per se. As far as I know, you can't really kill him. He doesn't really exist in our linear timeline, and he kind of does what he wants in a way. And now, does he have weaknesses? Yes, but he really isn't some kind of physical being at all. So that is now we can get into more lore if you want, but that's the quick summary of what it is. Pennywise is, so he just basically takes on different forms, and exists, survives on fear. So that's kind of what the character is. Now, there's other types of entities in the Dark Tower universe that come from this, specifically this same dimension, and actually part of the same race, if you want to call it, or class of beings.
Species,
there's one
if you will.
species. There's one in the Dark Tower called Dandelo, which is like the opposite of Pennywise, which is the same kind of being, but that feeds on laughter. There's another one called the Crimson King, which is like the big bad in the Dark Tower series, which is a similar species as Pennywise is. They all have different purposes, though. So yeah, that's some of the background before we get too far into the lore of what Pennywise actually is. It's not really a clown at all. Actually.
Troy,
So
did
just wanted
you
to point
did
that
you
out.
catch the Dandelo Easter egg in the finale?
No, tell me that one. I missed
Ooh.
it somehow.
So there's a shot. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm.
Because again, I'm like the outsider nerd that's like I want to learn. I want to learn stuff.
Yeah.
So
This is the first I'm learning that Stephen King's books are
insane.
universal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've read many Stephen King books, but I've never tied them together like this.
So Dandelo, I'm pretty sure goes by the name of Joe Collins in the books.
Okay.
And in one of the shots where they're in front of like a theater or whatever, there's a Joe Collins comedian poster on the wall, which kind of, you're like, oh shit. Like,
Nice.
so he's also maybe pops in the Derry every now and then to put on a a comedy show.
I guess that makes sense. He does thrive on laughter.
Yeah, so there was that little Easter egg in there. Again, another just really hinting at let's do the Dark Tower, because like why would you
Right.
that's such a random Easter egg to just throw in there. And again, you're not gonna like Avandra was like, what the fuck's Dandelo? And like it's
Right.
there's an opposite entity.
Yes, you're right. I just looked it up. You're totally right. Danielo's went by Joe Collins as like a human name. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like another just awesome Easter egg.
Yeah.
I don't really have
so
a lot
we're
of
saying-
lore. Yeah. I'm going to pass this off to Charles because
Charles, what do we
Go
got?
ahead.
Yeah. Can you? So I got like really caught up in everything that was said. What was the original question again?
So it was
Well,
just
yeah.
Go ahead, Troy. You wanted to go into this.
Basically, the question was basically, what is Pennywise? That was the first question we were
Yeah.
talking about.
Okay.
The lore behind that.
Yeah. No. He.
Yeah.
So
But do
Stephen
you want to
King.
see more of it? Is essentially what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see if they connect it to the Dark Tower, and if they expand upon that, and they create a Avengers of Dick Halloran and other characters from
the
the
MCU
universe.
of Stephen
Yeah.
King.
You could, hey, imagine Dick Halloran and Church the Cat. That would be like Groot and Rocket Raccoon. Pretty awesome. No, yeah, no, I it's very Lovecraftian. Stephen King is very open about how Lovecraft was like one of the earliest authors he read, and he kind of made me feel bad because he has a quote where he said that Stephen King is for Lovecraft is for readers that haven't grown chest hair yet, and I found offense with that because I still read Lovecraft. I love Lovecraft, but yeah, Pennywise is honestly, it's an amalgamation of a couple different things. I like to look at concepts and then figure out where the inspiration came from, or where, because nothing's truly original. So I like to see like what ideas spawn that, and we can go back to 1956 with Forbidden Planet, with Leslie Nielsen, with the if I remember correctly, it's been probably 20 years since I saw that. But there's a machine that makes your dreams become real, and that's like the nightmare being that's attacking them, if I remember correctly. And then also a novel called Solaris by Stanislav Lem, but that's kind of like more of the opposite of what Pennywise would do. So in Solaris, it is a planet that is sentient. There's like a layer of the planet that is alive, and it's been observing the universe for millions and millions of years, and they fire a nuke into it to try and communicate, because that's a very Russian thing to do.
Yeah.
Very Russian thing to do. And what it ends up doing is that the way it communicates is that it manifests what they feel the deepest emotion for. So for like the main character in Solaris, it brings back his dead wife. And to him, it's like, scary as hell. And he's like, what the heck? My wife is dead. What is she doing here? But if you think about it from a non-human perspective, this alien entity is simply trying to communicate in the only way that it knows how. And it's an innocent act. It doesn't understand that that's like a traumatic, or that it's an awful thing to show. So I would like to see more of that with Pennywise, more of the disconnect that we kind of get hints of it here and there, where he doesn't really understand like why, like the daughter, he doesn't understand why, she's so attached to this human. I would like to see more of that disconnect, I guess, more dehumanizing of Pennywise, more showing that there's not really a moral compass in this entity, and that it doesn't really abide by the laws that humans have. But I do think it's interesting that Pennywise isn't kind of an amalgamation of these other characters, because anything that can make your thoughts or your dreams and that kind of thing reality, I always find really fascinating. So I would like to see more of that, just the disconnect between mankind and these cosmic Lovecraftian deities. Anything Lovecraft, more.
I have a bonus for AJ, and I don't know about you, Charles, if you ever played the game Destiny, but I have a bonus for AJ and Evandro. There is a Destiny connection in the lore. So believe it or not,
Okay.
So I actually believe potentially that the Destiny writers were influenced a little bit by the Dark Tower, potentially, and I'll explain why.
I can see that.
In the Dark Tower, there's this concept of a quartet, which is a group of people that are formed together by destiny. And so quartet is like a group based on their own destiny of what they're supposed to do. And together, as they're fulfilling their destiny, they can essentially make their own fate by doing things that are beyond what a normal human being can do, right? And they use the power of what is it? I'm gonna butcher the name. 1 second. Sorry, it's been a while since Maturin the Turtle. So like they get kind of help from these kind of cosmic beings, but together as a quartet, they guardians make their own fate. It's really it's very similar. So like in Destiny, when you go to a raid, and the only way in lore wise you're supposed to be able to beat it as if you're working together as this essentially a quartet in the Dark Tower universe. It's similar. So that's a little bit of Destiny crossover.
Crazy connection, Troy.
Yeah, there you go. So when I first
dead
saw that, I was
on.
like, oh, Dark Tower. Anyway, so that's I wanted to add that as a bonus, basically, is what I was saying.
No, that's so cool. That's actually really cool to like see it that way.
Charles, have you ever played Destiny? Do you understand the reference?
Not really. I played it a lot with friends, but I mainly wanted to do PvP. So
okay, yeah,
I
okay.
just I like the
Got
more
it.
Understandable.
competitive
We've been
shooters.
there.
Yeah,
We've been there.
Right.
yeah.
Okay. I wanted to talk about the lore of the feeding, actually. And I wanted to get Charles' opinion, of course, because AJ gave his thoughts on the feeding part. And it's a little bit ambiguous, actually. It's not ever really fully explained that I remember in the book, per se. But what it seems like to me is the feeding really, like when Pennywise is killing someone, it's almost like fast food in a way, where it's like, okay, I'm going to scare someone, I'm going to kill them and eat them, and I just get like a quick feeding, right? But the sustenance really comes from what he's doing with the deadlights, when he's kind of floating people, really. And it's never really fully explained what happens, but in the novel, there's characters who experience that, who describe it basically. And what it seems like to me is potentially this is like a way of transferring someone potentially to the other dimension to actually consume their existence in a weird way. So because there's this concept, I think Beverly talks about in the book, about falling over or something like that, or crossing over. So what I think is actually happening is and it's all cosmic kind of mumbo jumbo, so it's really no real answer for it. But for me, what it seems like the true power comes from this, floating, like his real power when it comes from, and keeping these people in this state, and kind of weaning them over time into this potentially, though this is an assumption of mine, but potentially into this other dimension, which is not in our space-time dimension, which is the real scary part if you think about it, because now it's not just you're eaten and you're dead. You're potentially going into a realm of existence which you don't even know about, to do what? Who knows, right? To be potentially,
And
consumed for all
could
time.
you even
Right?
comprehend it? Could the human psyche
Exactly,
even
right? Yeah. So they
comprehend
don't
what you're seeing?
fully explain what happens, really, but they allude to some things in the novel, which they don't really in the show. But yeah, Charles, I wanted to get your thoughts about the feeding of, like, just killing someone after you scare them versus the floating aspect of it. What do you think?
I think that the idea that he's just eating them is a very human thing to think.
Yeah.
I feel like if I really had to just like come up with some BS off the top of my head, um, I feel like he's probably devouring their consciousness. That's the
Hmm.
only thing that can really like make sense to me as far as a cosmic entity and what it would
Hmm.
find sustenance on. So
Right.
maybe when he I would think that maybe when he devours them after he's been scaring them, maybe fear is like a heightened level of consciousness to his appetite or whatever.
Hmm.
And that is kind of like fast food, but putting them in the deadlights is kind of like a gourmet meal, because then he can
Hmm.
slowly and kind of like gorge on the consciousness while he eats it. But
Hmm.
that's what makes the most sense to me. I don't think that him just eating something to eat it makes sense, because that's, like I said, very human.
Hmm.
It would seem to me like there would be something more spiritual or metaphysical in like what he's looking for when he's devouring his victims. So I would say consciousness,
Hmm.
probably.
Okay. There you go. I wanted to ask that question, but yeah.
That's a good question.
Avandro. That's what that was the question I have, but I wanted to talk about Avandro. I'm sure you
No,
got
that
other
was good.
questions around the topic.
That
Okay.
was good. So
Mhm.
I want to, we talked a lot about like the lore and stuff like that. And there's a lot there that you can unpack in a TV show format. And Troy, you
Sure.
and I discussed this before we went live, how
Mhm.
the Dark Tower movie doesn't exist because it just wasn't good.
Right.
And you know what? I'm okay with saying that, because there's plenty of
Right.
movies that I wanted to love that I have erased from existence.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Stop. It's just called The Last Airbender. We're not talking about that.
Ong? Are you talking about Ong?
Oh no, stop. Oh God. I'm gonna get off screen here. So there's obviously a lot of story to tell. And with the popularity of things going into a TV show format where you have, 8, 10 hours to tell the story that you want to tell. Number one, do you think that they can execute it properly? Do you think that there's enough popularity from Welcome to Derry that they could do it? Like they were willing to put the money, because you guys have said that you could tell certain episodes they were like, we could cut the budget here.
Right.
Do you think that they could actually do it? Number one, and number two,
Mhm.
is that something you want to see? Like, obviously, yeah, we want to see the Dark Tower come to life, but like Charles is saying, going back to it, you're giving a lot of information. You're giving more and more depth to these, creatures, characters, and all that. So, like, is it something that can happen? And do you want to see it? Is the question.
So I'll go first because this has been since I was a teenager. So the Dark Tower first book was written I believe when Stephen King was in college. So we're talking about a long time ago. And the seventh book came out in like maybe 2000s, early 2000s or something like that. Can't remember exactly when it came out. 2000.
It's a long time to
5.
write 7 books.
And
At least he fucking
so
wrote
when
them.
yeah,
did.
So when I was
George R.
so
Martin.
when I was so when I was a teenager, I was like, I think he had written up to book 4 at that time. And so I had read those 4 books like over and over again. They were like my favorite stories. And then when 5, 6, and 7 came out, I loved it. I remember reading book 7. Like when I finally got to the end, I was literally like, I was so happy. I love the ending of it. These kind of long stories, I'm not going to spoil it because it's too good to spoil, but these kind of long stories like that, it's really hard to satisfy everyone with an ending, to be honest with you, because everyone has this perspective of what this ending is going to be. And you're not going to please everybody. I was very pleased with the ending. I thought it was a great, fantastic ending. And I was like, wow, the story's over. But my dream was, can we get, when HBO started making these drama shows and when they had like Game of Thrones or whatever, when Game of Thrones came out, I was like, oh my God. It was the first time I thought they could actually pull off the Dark Tower. The problem is the Game of Thrones budget was so high, right? To get that kind of, in my mind, I'm like, wow, like it would take this type of budget. But now that I see what they're doing with Welcome to Derry, which probably has way less budget than Game of Thrones did, I'm like, yeah, they could pull it off. Would there be some kind of cringe episodes with bad CGI? I'm sure there would be, but I think overall it would be more good than bad. And I think you could do a season per book, probably, of the main books, which would be like 7 seasons. Now you probably could condense them. Maybe like the first book is very short. You probably could condense like book 1 and 2, but after that, the books get pretty long. So you're talking about at least like 5, 6 seasons. Now that's what Game of Thrones was. So if they're willing to spend the money on it, I think it would be one of the coolest TV shows we'd ever seen if they do it correctly. It's my take on it.
I want to get your opinion, Charles. What about you?
Oh yeah, fuck me, just skip me.
Yeah, we're gonna skip you in a second. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
yeah.
I leaned into the mic and Evandro was like, "Sit down." I was like, "Oh shit."
Sit the fuck back.
Yeah.
I think they could definitely do it, but
Mhm.
what is it that Ian Malcolm said? That he said that your scientists are so preoccupied with whether they could, they didn't stop to think whether they should.
Which is basically what I'm asking.
I don't. I think that they could, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. The last season of Game of Thrones, I don't know if we're ever going to have that type of budget for a show again after that bombed so terribly. And, the Starbucks cups on set and all that other stuff that was so great to find rewatching it. But also on top of that, Rings of Power, the most expensive show ever made, over $1 billion invested, and it's terrible. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I think that if they did it, they're going to have to cool off, especially like now with Netflix trying to buy Warner Brothers and all this other shenanigans going on. I think that at the moment, we're not going to see that type of investment. And if they did make it, I think we would run into another kind of Sandman style thing where it just did not live up to expectations. So I personally would
love to
love it, but I want it to be done correctly. So
Yeah.
if it takes another
Yeah.
10 years, fine. Fine with me.
The
But I don't
first-
think it's going to
I would
happen
love, yeah,
anytime soon.
I would love to see them try like maybe a mini season, like four episode of the first book, just to kind of feel it out, to see how well they can do it, because to see the fan reception on it. I don't know if they work that way, but I would love to see it on the screen, like for real, like not by the book. They're going to have to change certain things because it never translates one to one, but close to the book, that would be my dream. Even just to see that, like, give me 4 episodes, each hour long, of the first book, and to see how it turns out. And if it's really good, then I think if they got a lot of viewership, maybe they'll fund more seasons. That would be great.
What about you, AJ?
For me, when I went, we had our little gaming cabin a couple weeks ago, and we went around a walk, and Troy literally just started dropping all this lore on me, and it led to this show, by the way, because I was like, I need to get Troy on.
Okay.
We went on this walk. He's talking. I brought up Welcome to Derry, and then he just starts going off on the Dark Tower, and I'm like, holy shit! Do I want to read a book? Because it sure seems like I want to read a book right now. This sounds.
Right. You'd be surprised how many great books there are out there.
This sounds phenomenal. And then we got back, and I was like, yo, we're watching Welcome to Derry. I think we watched the first 3 episodes at the time. I think at the time that there was only 3. So. And then, based off of a lot of the stuff that Troy was telling me, to see all those connections already in Welcome to Derry between Halloran, that little Easter egg of Joe Collins for, again, hinting at another entity already. The Shining, the ton of turtle references. I mean, I feel like you can't go 15, 20 minutes without seeing a turtle of some kind. They were just like, hey, remember that turtle?
So then my question is, why turtles? Is that like
that's
a thing? Is that like
I don't know if you can see this, guys, but it is. Dude, this is just one book. I don't know if you can see how thick this is. This is like insane. How many
pages is that?
7.
How many pages is that?
Let's see.
It's a picture book.
I'll show you.
Only because I've just recently read the longest book I've ever read.
It's 840.
840. Okay.
Yeah. That's just book 7.
Yeah.
So what was the longest book you just read, Evandro?
Mine was 1,600 pages. It is Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson.
But the Dark Tower
series, yeah.
The Dark Tower universe is so expansive that they actually made I don't know if you can see this, but
a
whole
guide
concordance. A concordance. Yeah, this
amazing.
is the concordance for the Dark Tower, and you can, it's pretty nuts. If you want every explanation of every terminology in the Dark Tower, the whole concordance.
Because I remember when Castle Rock came out, and a lot of these discussions kind of came up during that, because that was also kind of trying to do what Welcome to Derry did, but it didn't have Pennywise. Let's be honest. This is working out so well, and I think it's attracting a lot of people. And Troy, you just brought up see how it tests out, and I test with people, and I think that's what they kind of did here. Was okay. Let's, obviously we're going to focus on Pennywise and Derry, but we're going to drop so many Easter eggs to the Macroverse and see if people even pick up on them, and if they care. And I feel like the reception that's what people want. Whether it's we're getting more Pennywise, obviously, but I'm all for it. I think the universe that you were explaining to me, where the turtle is basically trying to save this from the other entities that are trying to collapse the Dark Tower so they can, break into the world, is such a fascinating. Again, the amount of content that you can create from that, and if you kind of have I don't want to say Kevin Feige or whatever, but if you have someone that is that passionate about all of that, to, let's say like a James Gunn DCU type that is just like, I'm going to create this and oversee it so it follows through. I think it could be incredible. But again, has to be TV show format. You know, if you want to make the final, if you want to kind of pull a Stranger Things here, where like the finale's 2 hours long and it's essentially a movie, cool, do that.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
95% of this entire universe needs to be in a TV show format where you can get 10, 12 hours to break down a book or, you know, do what you need to do.
I think that's the only way, especially with like the long books like this, long format books like that. You know, the 7 books of the Dark Tower. You know, if they ever did any, like, you know, what they did with Game of Thrones, if they ever write any of Brandon Sanderson's books, like, there's no way you can make these movies. You don't do the characters any justice, you don't do the writing any justice, and you're just basically picking and choosing the parts of the story that you want to tell. But there's a reason the author writes for as long as he writes for, because he's trying to tell a very specific story and he's trying to give you a very specific character, and that's what makes, in my opinion, characters so lovable. Even Pennywise as a villain, you know,
It's iconic.
is a very attractive character. Like, it's like you are so terrified of this creature, whatever you want to call it. You know, if you just gave me him in a very tiny movie, like try to take all of Welcome to Derry and put it into an hour and a half, you're not going to get that same feeling.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like general audiences in general, obviously, are more receptive to horror and rated R stuff now, especially with the quality of horror movies over the last, let's just say, 5 years, and how well they do in the box office. Like Sinners is a great example. Weapons is a great example. You know, talking about franchises and icons like Jurassic Park. Like, I would love for Jurassic Park to come back as a series based on the books and get as fucking scary as those books are. Like, I want to see that. I don't want to see the action adventure Jurassic Park. I want to see fucking dinosaurs terrify the living shit out of me because I woke up and they're in my fucking bedroom. Like, I want that. You know, which is...
You should watch Primitive War, AJ.
Yes, I know. I that's on my list.
It's great.
I definitely want to watch. You think my 7-year-old can handle that?
Probably not.
I mean, I know some parents don't care if their kids see gore. Mine didn't. There's a lot of F-bombs. I mean, just imagine your typical like Vietnam era soldier film, but then add dinosaurs and lots of brutality. So
yeah, but again, it's because it's not technically realistic because they're dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs,
I guess. Yeah, I'll probably watch it by myself. All right, continue.
Well, let me ask you this question, AJ. In terms of that, you're saying, like, and it's true. There's a lot of movies nowadays want to reach that. It was actually trend. They wanted to reach that PG-13 rating where you could get the younger audiences in by themselves, because a lot of teenagers normally used to go to the movies just to get out of the house and go to the movies. And when you reach that certain age, like, you just wanted to get into the movies. It didn't matter what you were seeing at that point. And then, you know, those kids would discover, oh, this movie's actually really good. Then that became a lot of on the downtrend. Now they're trying to hit that rated R superstar type of thing. You see a lot of it in the TV shows, especially like The Boys. You know, it's just over the top everything. Gore, sexual violence, all these things. And those shows do well. Game of Thrones, you know, you have this over the top medieval violence that takes place. You know, in Welcome to Derry, you have all this like fear and horror and, you know, gore that takes place there.
Yeah,
all of these things are on the popular uptrend now. But like, to go back to it, Predator Badlands, PG-13.
But it's only PG-13 because there's no humans in it. It goes by like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon, where it's like, oh, it's cool, we can watch them kill all of these things because they're robots. Like,
exactly.
So, you know, whereas if they were slicing actual foot soldier people in half, that they should have never flew. But, you know, Predator Badlands is as gory as you could possibly think. It's just doing it with...
There's no red blood in the entire
there's no red blood. Everything's milk and green, you know?
Everything is being completely eviscerated, dismembered, but not a single drop of red blood in the entire movie.
But you can even go point to the MCU. Hey, babe. You can even point to the MCU, and where it's like, what's up?
Oh, we're derailed. We're derailed.
Sorry. It's like, where they always wanted everything PG-13. Everything had to be PG-13, and then Wolverine, Deadpool goes, "Now we're gonna make $1 million. Fuck you." And you're just
I think, I think
Go ahead,
there's a deeper I think there's a deeper reason as well to why we're seeing this like rise in R-rated, not just horror films, but films in general. I think that people, especially general audiences, are humans in general, are creatures of routine, creatures of pattern, and we see patterns and we like patterns. But I think that those same patterns get bored. Attention spans are getting shorter. People are getting bored of the same kinds of patterns, and I think that the superhero fatigue is a big part of why horror is on such a rise right now, especially since a lot of these horror films are original concepts. Like this year, Bringer Back, Sinners, Weapons,
Sinners.
Several other ones.
Sinners was
very unique. So it's like
very, very unique.
These films are formulaic, don't get me wrong, but it's not the formula that has been shoved down our throats nonstop for the past 20 years. So I mean, absolutely, I think that there is a place in the cultural lexicon for this kind of thing, and I think that people are craving originality more than they used to, because we were just completely dominated by the same formula for 20 years.
Yeah,
that's excellent point, man.
I 100% agree. It goes back to what you're saying, Charles, that like no idea is original anymore. It's just different. It's almost like you're just moving the needle in certain directions, but you're staying.
Yeah, it's how it's executed.
And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, because there's been a lot of great formulaic, stories that have come out that are still just really good. Like sometimes you just need to sit there and enjoy it without having to critique it to death, or having to, everybody enjoys a good superhero movie, but like you're saying, it's been 20 years of that. We're seeing you're basically cookie cuttering everything now. And that's why I think Deadpool and Wolverine did so well, because now you're breaking that mold. You're breaking that formula that everybody's so used to seeing. And you're right, AJ. The seeing that rise in horror now, you've seen so many of these, and not all the horror movies that have come out are good, but like, you've got movies like Five Nights at Freddy's, all these
Willy's Wonderland. Let's go.
Willy's Wonderland. That was actually an incredible film. The fact that Nicolas Cage says nothing that entire movie. It's fun, and I think that's what horror is trying to get back to. You can have, like Troy, your one-word answer was, this show was fun. And I think that's why people are enjoying it more, because you're right, Troy, exactly what you said. Things don't need to take themselves so seriously where it loses, what it's there for, and I think based on what you guys are saying, this show did just that. So overall, let's close it out. In your guys' final opinion, give me a rating on the show out of 10. Troy, what do you got?
All right. Are we comparing it to like the greatest TV shows of all time, or what are we comparing it to?
No, just in your opinion, like where would it fit on a scale of a to 10?
Okay. Okay.
No, don't compare it to Breaking Bad.
You don't got to compare it to anything.
I'm trying to understand.
You don't got to compare it to Breaking Bad or like the first season of Game of Thrones or the first couple seasons of Dexter. Like, no, what in your opinion out of 10? What was this show?
Well, if those shows are, if Sopranos and Breaking Bad, if those are 10s, right?
Yeah.
To me, this is like it's like a 7, But a 7 is better than a lot of shows now, which I wouldn't even rank a 7. To me, it is
of course.
A 7 is a show which you can enjoy. You can have a 2-hour podcast about. You can have a lot of fun with, right? You can do that. A 10 is like greatest shows of all time. You know what I mean? It's just it's hard to compare that. If you take those shows out of it, and just say compare it to most things, it's probably like an 8. You know what I mean? So that's what I would say.
So then, yeah, well, you could say it's an 8. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. What do you guys
What about
think?
you, AJ?
For me, I'm gonna go a little higher. Again,
Mhm.
I'm not trying to say and compare this to like a Breaking Bad, which in my opinion
Mhm.
is probably my favorite show and best show I've ever seen.
Mhm.
But to me, coming off of the movies and what this was trying to do, it surpassed my expectations. I honestly thought that this was probably going to be a corny show. I wasn't even really that interested in it. You know, when it was first announced, like I was like, oh, that'd be cool, whatever. And then just seeing everything that they did with it and bringing in Halloran and the, you know, really diving into the Shine and the lockbox thing, which kind of ties into Doctor Sleep, which I haven't seen, which is, Charles, that's why I brought it up. Like, do I need to see it to really get some of the, but though, you know, that bringing that into it, which ties to Doctor Sleep with the whole lockbox thing, when Pennywise like literally rips open Halloran's mind essentially and just unleashes all that shit, like all of those little notes and everything leading up to it, between introducing Pennywise, when introducing the lore that Pennywise exists in all times, that sometimes he doesn't even know where he is, but then you had that incredible scene with Marge, where now you know why she names her son Rich. All that little lore right there is just, it's awesome. So now it kind of what you brought up, Troy, like characters being destined. Is it these characters were like the losers in the original movies, were they destined to defeat Pennywise? Based on, you know, what we just got in this movie.
Defeat is an interesting word.
Well, yeah,
It's a matter of perspective.
but him to rest, so to speak, because now again they're saying they're going to do a third movie, which you know, obviously, who knows? Are we going to get? Is a third movie going to actually be a true conclusion to? You know, are they going to bring those actors back to face him once again as adults, or are they going to go on a totally different thing? Who knows?
They can't, because one of those actors just died.
I mean,
The one that plays Billy.
well, I mean, you could just say he died in the movie. I don't know, but I don't know. So that's what I mean. There's a lot. So for me, I'm gonna rank this show a 9. I really think what it's done to get people excited for, again, possibly bringing a Dark Tower series, getting that actually on the ground, which I think Amazon Prime's trying to do. So I don't. But who knows what's happening now with all these mergers and stuff? You know, a lot of stuff's up in the air. So
yeah,
depends on who owns the IP at this point.
Yeah, for me, it's a solid 9. I think it was really good, and I'd highly recommend it to anyone that's a Pennywise Stephen King fan. This is definitely a show that has a lot of stuff. If you're a Shining fan, you absolutely have to check it out. Dick Halloran's just probably my favorite character in the entire show, and honestly, if they do a spin-off series with him, like him getting from here to the Overlook, I'm all for. Or even his first few years at the Overlook, like sign me up.
He needs
sign me up.
He needs to see the original murders, man. Like that would be
like
so
I want to.
cool if
Yeah,
he's there when that happens.
That would be. Yeah. So, all right, Charles.
What about you, Charles?
Wrap it up.
Yeah, so I have to be fair with my reviews, because I try to be as fair as I can. I try to be objective. So you know, when I think it loses points because it is overly reliant on its effectiveness being on outside source materials. So the show standalone, looking at it without knowing any of this other connections or any of these other things, I definitely think it suffers in quality if you're somebody that comes in there just not knowing anything. And comparing it to like season 4 of Breaking Bad, season 1 of True Detective, season 6 of Game of Thrones, that kind of thing. Yes, that's my favorite season of television ever. But comparing it to like that type of television, I don't think it really holds a candle. I would give it like a 7.5 out of 10, I think, just simply based on based on like the sequences, the writing of the dialogue, the character elements, like just from an objective quality point of view, I think it would easily be an 8 if the CGI was better.
Or if they
But
just
yeah,
cut the
like
graveyard scene.
If they just cut the
yeah,
graveyard.
just take all that out.
Just take that out.
Yeah,
Right.
but
It was
but
like
what
really
if
bad
when
Harry
they
Potter, pretty much.
yeah, but what
Sorry,
if
yeah.
when they're in the deadlights, what if
Yeah.
they're actually in the upside down?
Yeah.
Mm.
Stranger Things,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
Welcome to
there you
Derry
go.
crossover happening, you know?
There you go.
Yeah, imagine
Well,
if
we-
Vecna's
yeah.
one of those entities.
I would
Yeah,
honestly,
exactly.
say this, based on how you guys are describing the show, and I've been trying to rack my brain thinking of like what was the closest thing to this. This is probably, I would say, a successful horror series. There's been
Mhm.
plenty of horror movies out there, campy, just you name it, it's been out there, and I think this is one of the first series at least to my memory, that is a huge success.
Yes.
It's highly rated. It's the audiences love it. I don't think we've seen that in a very, very long time.
Yeah,
In terms of in the horror genre in general.
To compare it to something recently like Alien Earth, which I thought
Yeah.
started off phenomenal and
See, but
then
I don't
really took
consider that horror.
You don't
you know,
consider Alien
it's-
horror? Like, come on.
I don't know.
I mean,
kinda
it's-
sci-fi
It has
action.
scary moments.
yeah,
Yeah,
no, but
I
I
would
mean,
say
the
more.
Alien itself, like, you know, the first movie is definitely a horror movie. Like, are we serious?
I don't know. You know why?
Okay.
You know why? Because to me, like, horror is always like, it's got to be something supernatural, and aliens is, Alien is a science fiction. There's nothing, ethereal in a way about it.
Couldn't we say
Yeah.
Pennywise is science fiction?
Yeah, well, cosmic horror.
I guess so.
It's
Yeah.
cosmic horror.
Okay. Cosmic
Yeah, like-
horror. Yeah.
Again, I'm just trying to compare it to something recent because Alien Earth definitely
Yeah.
tried to go into the horror roots, but the
Yes.
last three
Show
episodes
definitely made me uncomfortable.
took a nosedive, and then honestly, the finale was a huge disappointment and missed the landing because I just was like, okay. Whereas this, the final 2 episodes, I mean, you want more. Whereas Alien
Yeah.
Earth, you're like, all right, if it ended, I guess fuck it.
Alien Earth, my thing with Alien Earth is that it committed the ultimate cardinal sin, in my opinion. Whenever you have like an animal, like some type of creature that isn't really self-aware, and you try to humanize it, try to make it a pet, that kind of thing pisses me off, and I hated it that she like tamed a xenomorph. It reminded me of the velociraptors in Jurassic World. And
Jurassic
how
World.
I forget
boy
which
Blue.
film it was. There's one film where it literally the velociraptor fucking cries, and I will never forgive that movie for that shit. I hate that because you remove anything that makes it complex or interesting. You remove all suspension of disbelief when you humanize an animal. And
I
so,
agree.
yeah, I know this isn't
God,
a show about Alien Earth, but man, I just had to bring it up. That pissed me off.
No.
it's just
You're
like-
absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, go ahead,
I
Jordan.
am of
I do
Go ahead,
have.
Troy.
Before we wrap up, though, I want to give a bonus lore, something that's really left field, but it is true. All right. So,
Okay.
And because my YouTube channel is a music channel, we do a lot of music reviews, and I don't have a lot of time to watch TV shows. I listen to a lot of music, and because of that, it's rare now that I actually sit down and watch a season of a show. So this was the first season of a show I've watched in quite a while. So that's gives you a good rating that I wanted to watch the whole thing. So that's one thing, but the galore connection is this. So when Stephen King was in high school, all right, I mean, not high school, college, and his senior year of 1969, this album came out. I don't know if you could see this album. If any
Yep.
music nerds know what this is. This is a band called King Crimson, and the album is called In the Court of the Crimson King. And he started working on the Dark Tower, getting ideas for it in college. And he actually named the main character of the Dark Tower, Bad Guy, after King Crimson in this album, actually. And the lyrics in this album inspired him to write a lot of the, apparently, according to the internets, some of the lore and the inspiration behind some of the Dark Tower stuff. And this was considered the first, many people consider this the first progressive rock album. That's kind of widely considered. So we have an episode coming out soon about this album.
Plug it.
On our
Plug
channel.
it.
So it's all,
plug it, Troy.
it's all
Yeah,
related,
yeah,
is
yeah.
what I'm saying. And my co-host Mark, this is one of his all-time favorite bands, King Crimson. So it's going to be a fun episode. The point is, though, Stephen King is a big fan of this, and so there's crossover between prog rock, music reviews, Dark Tower. It's all connected, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So
it's all connected.
yeah,
It's all connected.
and one clarification. Now that you go, AJ. The first book, even though he started writing it in college, the first book wasn't published until 1982, and it's in number 7. What came out in 2004 on his birthday, September 21st, 2004. I have a note here. So there was this huge gap, right? Obviously, between the 7 books. Go ahead,
first
AJ.
book and the last book.
Yeah.
One last shout out to the show. Can we talk real quick? When Dick Halloran literally froze Pennywise and made him think he was fucking human for like 3 minutes. That scene was fucking amazing. Like when he just slaps him, he's like, "I'm Pennywise, I'm a fucking god," and he just like smacks him in the face, and then like the realization on his face is like, "Holy shit, wait, am I Bob Gray?" Like he's to just point out like how powerful Halloran is to be able to do that to an entity.
I want to
like
ask a question about
Pennywise.
that moment. Then I want to ask a question about that moment. Do you feel like the show is messing with you at that point? Is it one of those things where it's like, is this real? Is it not real? Is it just the breaking of the human psyche? Like is everything? Are you guys all just imagining what Pennywise is doing, and it's just a way of human beings to cope with trauma?
Yeah, I don't know.
To rationalize the trauma. That's why people forget when they leave Derry. It's just them actually dealing with the trauma of everything that's happened in that town.
Yeah, maybe. But I was
or it's just a simulation.
Yeah. At first I didn't, in that finale scene, I was very confused as to why he got frozen. Like I didn't even really understand what was happening until you were like, they showed it, that it was Halloran doing that to him. And I was like, holy shit. Like that's how powerful his, and you got to figure he got that next level of power because Pennywise unlocked his mind, like unlocked that box, and he was able to tap in even more. So again, give us a Dick Halloran show. Give us that.
Yes. Well, welcome to Overlook. I want to welcome to
Yes.
That would be awesome. Yes, that would be awesome.
Yep.
That's
so
another. We
we
should do an episode on The Shining because
I'm down.
Dude,
I enjoyed this, man. This was great.
Not only the Stephen King lore, but the Stanley Kubrick lore that's going on in that movie and all the symbolism that's in that. We could do a whole episode.
I'm down.
That movie trips me out.
Yeah. We should do a Shining Dr. Sleep combo show. Because I haven't watched Dr. Sleep yet, and like all of this has made me like I'm probably gonna watch it.
Dr. Sleep is fantastic, AJ. I think you'll love it.
All right, Charles. Before we go, you got anything to plug coming up on your channel?
I just came out with a video with a lengthy title. It's something like the top 10 Asian cinema films you should stop everything and watch right now. It's a very short title. But yeah, so I'm planning on doing a ranking of Park Chan-wook films coming soon.
Oh, cool.
Because no other choice. Yeah, no other choice is officially hitting theaters. I think it actually hit theaters yesterday, Christmas Day. So I'm planning on, I'm kind of rewatching a lot of his stuff and trying to watch some of the harder to find things. And so if you like South Korean cinema, that kind of thing, or really just any type of darker cinema, then check out the channel. I try to be. Oh yeah. I noticed your shirt in the background, Change of Seasons. My childhood friend, that was his favorite. I guess you could. Is it an album or is it a song? It's like a 23-minute song, but it's technically
a song. Album. It's a song on an EP. On an EP, actually. Yep.
Yeah.
But it's 23 minutes long.
If you want to talk Dream Theater, Troy is your man.
That's my all-time favorite band.
Yeah, Scenes from a Memory was my favorite. We went on like a whole deep dive of Dream Theater back when I was a kid.
But this is what I wanted to show you.
Oh,
I don't know if you can see this, but
Is that?
there we go.
Oh shit!
Oh, dude,
Old Boy.
isn't that really
Oh
expensive?
my god, I love that movie.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite score probably ever. Yep.
Old
Yeah,
Boy.
That's,
Old Boy's
that's
a
probably
great
my
movie,
favorite
man.
film ever.
Yeah, Old Boy is one of my favorites.
Don't
yeah,
shoot
so-
me. I've only ever
Not-
seen the remake. I've never seen the original.
Oh,
With
hell
Josh
no,
Brolin?
man. You
The remake with Josh Brolin? Nope. Not good.
You got to go watch the
Not
original. You're gonna love
The
it.
original is so much better. The original, and this, I'm sorry, this is just the deep dive lore that I know.
Right.
The original scene, there's that scene, the no cut hallway scene where he just beats the shit out of the guys with the hammer. That's
the
what
tracking
inspired that scene in the first season of Daredevil, when he fights
Oh, wow.
the guys in the scene and he's coming in and out of the rooms. They talk about it, how Old Boy, and that's happened a lot in other films, but Old Boy was the first one to do it. Yeah, so good.
Yeah, I
So
actually
All right.
talk about that in my video that I did. Old Boy's super influential. AJ, you got to watch it.
I will.
Oh, dude, the original is so good, so good.
Okay. I'll put it on my list.
So we all have our homework. We all have
Yeah.
our homework. Thank you guys for coming on the show. Thank you for
Yeah, this was
hitting us
awesome.
with all that lore and all that information.
Yes.
But we will say Welcome to Derry is definitely a success in terms of
Netflix,
a
get
television
it
show.
going. Netflix,
Yeah, right.
do it. Get the
Yeah,
Dark
right.
Tower rolling.
Please.
Listen,
But
Netflix is buying Warner Brothers, which Warner Brothers owns HBO.
that's what I
so
mean. So that's why I'm
You're
just
getting the budget.
Just hopefully,
Getting the
you know,
budget.
before we go
I have a
again. All right,
question
yeah,
for
go
you.
ahead. Super last one.
AJ, I have a
Right.
question for you. I got to know something. Are you actually going to read the Dark Tower?
Oh, absolutely not.
No, you
No,
bastard.
AJ doesn't read books. AJ doesn't read books.
Look,
You see,
I,
Troy, you see all my books here? You see all my books here?
Yes.
You see all these books? That's an entire shelf dedicated
Yeah,
to books.
I collect toys
AJ
and watch
doesn't
movies,
even-
man. I don't read books.
All right, what about book on tape?
I was gonna say I might do some audiobooks.
Audiobook
'cause
is what
it
it's called.
sounds
All right.
it sounds too good. Like again, like that
You
when
should.
you were telling me about it, I was like, man, I think I really want to get into this. This sounds right up
AJ,
my
you
alley.
do it
gotta-
on
dude,
your
you
commute
gotta
to work.
The first book is really short. Okay, it's easy. It's an easy read. If you listen to audiobook, it's going to be fairly short. But the beginning of the second book is really the hook, I would say, in my opinion.
You were
So
telling me
get
about
to
a
like
Chat GPT train, basically. You know, it sounds
no, that's
awesome.
the third book. But the beginning of the second book, the book is called The Drawing of the Three, and it has just this amazing opening to it, and you're like,
Dark
it's one of
Tower
those, like,
1 on Audible is
There you
only
go.
7 hours long. That's like
that's pretty
nothing.
short.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can do that
So
in
there you go.
2
that's a
days.
regular New York commute.
There you go. So get to the beginning of book 2, right? And I think you'll be like, oh wow, okay, yeah, I gotta keep listening to
Yeah.
this. So,
Okay.
you know,
You should try it.
Yeah.
You should try it. I personally do a lot of audiobooks. I recently started doing that. It has been a very eye-opening or ear-opening experience in terms of
Hell yeah.
literature that I wouldn't normally get into. And I realized that there are certain books that I could not physically read, but I enjoy much better as an audiobook.
oh yeah.
Definitely worth giving it a shot, AJ, especially if you're going to try and
Yeah.
do the Dark Tower.
But all right,
But with
guys.
that,
Yes. All right, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time. I think this was about 2 hours. I don't know if anyone
Yep.
actually watched this live, but I had a blast. So
we had a couple. Yeah, it was a great time. I love you guys.
But
Thank you
Yeah.
guys. Appreciate everything, all your insight. It was a wonderful experience.
have a great night. And as always, like and subscribe and be on the lookout for more content from Kaiju Live. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.